So there I was, happily going through life carrying my 7-round G43. And why not? For the size of this pistol, the grip fits my hand. It's not overly snappy. It's accurate at self-defense distances. It conceals really well in the summer in my pocket, and in the winter it fits just fine in an inside the waistband holster. The trigger's standard polymer striker fired trigger. And don't forget that Glock reliability. If you ever have to use this gun and it doesn't go off, well, it's just not your day. In fact, that should probably be Glock's new slogan. Glock, if this gun doesn't fire, God's called you home. But then, there was a rumble on the YouTube that Sig had finally completed testing its new P365. Never mind the fact that it did its initial testing on its customers, that's a completely different video. This gun carries 10 rounds in the magazine, 1 round in the chamber for a total of 11. And as far as I can tell, looking at my abacus, 11 is more than 7. So here's the gun I didn't even know I needed, presented to me at the same time on YouTube by at least 50 reviewers, all provided these guns for free. I had to have one. We've all seen the comparisons. These two firearms are approximately the same thickness, approximately the same height. The reason the P365 looks shorter is because I took the magazine out of it. The barrel length on the P365 is slightly shorter, although you can't even see it on the screen, but it is slightly shorter. So is this the perfect carry pistol for concealment? Sig would say yes. A lot of people agree. The trigger's standard striker fire trigger, no better or no worse than the Glock trigger, no matter how many reviewers tell you different. So then I carried this gun for a few years, confident that 11 rounds was enough for any self-defense encounter, plus carrying an extra magazine. Then we were told that 11 rounds wasn't enough and that we needed at least 12. Despite all of the evidence that says that the average self-defense encounter happens within 3 yards in under 3 seconds with approximately 3 shots. But anyway, 12 rounds is what we needed. So Sig stepped up again and filled that void for us, and they released the P365 XL. There were a couple other variants in the middle there, like the P365X, which is basically the P365 slide on the 365 XL frame. So if you have both these guns, you already have the P365X. There's also the P365 SAS, which is the one that has absolutely no sights and is designed to not snag on any of your clothes when you're drawing it. But we're all putting red dots on our pistols now anyway, so not sure that gun makes any sense at all. But now we have 12 rounds. Same trigger, even though this is the Spectre Comp version with the built-in compensator and supposedly an enhanced trigger. It's kind of hard to tell that actually when compared to all the other flat triggers that Sig releases. But don't worry, we don't have to have this gun for long because now 12 rounds is not enough. So enter the P365X macro with a 17 round magazine, the exact same trigger, optics ready, has an actual Picatinny rail on the front for better compatibility. So now, is this gun enough? And doesn't this raise a question? At what point does a gun become too large to carry, and I might as well just go back to carrying my Glock 19, which nowadays everybody says is like carrying the panhandle of Florida inside your waistband, even though we've been carrying that gun for, what, 10, 20 plus years at least, right? So today we're going to look at comparisons of these three P365s and see where's this point that they become not the best concealed carry gun on the market. Now, before we start to compare these guns and discuss which one is the best for everyday carry and what the uses of the other firearms here are, I want to get this out of the way. I bought these firearms with my own money. No one gave me these guns to review. I actually have carried every one of these firearms in some capacity or another. So before I hear the angry keyboard typing already, you're dissing Sig. Sig's the best firearm company out there, man. Stop it. I'm not. I use these firearms, okay? I'm simply comparing these firearms now as which one is the best actual carry firearm for all around everyday carry, and if you could only have one of these for that purpose, which one should it be? So with that out of the way, so before I give my high-level walkthrough of these firearms and what I use them for, completely my opinion, your mileage may vary, let's do some actual comparisons. Every gun on this table has a 3.1 inch barrel. The XL standard, though, comes with a 3.7 inch barrel, no compensation, which is the slide that I recommend. I actually have that slide as well, and I like it. So let's look at the sizes. So all of these guns, this is the P365, this is the XL, they're all the same exact thickness. In fact, the P365X is just this slide. I think I might have said this, but just this slide on this frame. All of these guns, which you can do with these. If you have both of them and you want to carry the shorter slide with the longer frame, you can just take this slide off and put it on that frame. If you wanted to carry the different, if you wanted to put this fire control unit in the macro, for instance, you could. That's swappable too, really easy. Push this, take the slide off, obviously, push this pin out, pull your not the slide release, but your takedown lever, pull your takedown lever pin out, which you kind of have to wiggle that around a little bit, and the fire control units of these guns lift right out and swap around. So they're the same thicknesses. As far as the length goes, let's see if I can get this somehow on the camera. As far as the length goes, the XL is the width of my finger. For reference, the width of my finger, or probably the width of a normal person's finger, longer on the slide. That's the same with the slide that hasn't got the comps in it. The only difference is the sights sitting up here. Then we move to the length of the grip, and you can see, pretend like the magazine was in the P365, but you can see that the grip on the XL is maybe an inch longer. I don't know, I'm guessing, but it is longer, noticeably longer. And then let's just stay with the regular P365 when we look at the macro so you can see the step up. Then we move to the macro. Again, same thicknesses. The slide is the same length on the macro as it is on the XL. In fact, the slides are interchangeable. So you can see there's the same difference in length. Not holding this to the camera correctly. There we go. You can see the difference in length. Now the length of the grip is where there's a huge difference. So that's the length, that's the difference of the grip right there. So it's considerably longer, and the magazine on the XL adds even more length to the grip, but not actual usable length really, because it's recessed a little bit, but not actual usable length. But with this grip in there, with the magazine in there, this, just think Glock 19, G19. If you haven't seen a G19 grip, then I can't help you, but that's about the length, right? Somewhere between the 19 and actually the 17. So you can see it's a huge step up in length. Slides only jump up in length once, and that's from the P365 or P365X to the XL, because the XL is the long slide, and the macro keeps the long slide and adds an even longer grip. So that's the actual comparison of the handguns looking at them. So now we can move on to my thoughts about where each of these play a role in my rotation. If you like these kind of comparisons, please subscribe to my channel. Let's go ahead and start to look at the original P365. This P365 has a 3.1 inch barrel, and it easily conceals in the pocket. All these firearms are unloaded. It easily conceals in the pocket, and it also easily conceals in an inside the waistband holster. What are the downsides of this firearm? Well, it comes standard with a 10-round magazine, but there are, and this magazine has rounds in it, there are 12-round extensions that fit flush, and I won't put this in there, but fit flush and increase the grip. It also takes the 12-round magazines, although there's a space there, that come with the P365 XL. And if you want to carry a spare magazine in your pocket with 17 rounds in it, well, look at that. It also will fit the P365X macro 17 rounds. Lock back just like normal. These magazines are stiff, so it doesn't allow the slide release to work real well. But it carries all these magazines as well. So technically you could put the 10-round magazine in as I do, and I carry the flush, with the extension, I carry this 12-round magazine because it makes the grip a little longer. So the main issue with this gun is that the grip is small. It's a slight bit snappy because you don't get a real good purchase on this grip, and the relatively high bore axis of this gun, the slides reciprocating, causes a little bit of flip. So not too bad really when you're considering that you're shooting self-defense distances, which are going to be close. If you shoot somebody, if you take a self-defense shot at 25 yards, then you're in a real gunfight, and you probably shouldn't have this anyway. You should have a rifle. The next one, so where I think this fits is deep concealment in your pocket during the summer, also in your waistband in the winter. This works just fine. But let's just say that you're not happy and you want a standard capacity of 12 rounds. So enter the P365 XL. This is a Spectre Comp version. Most P365 XLs do not have the compensated slide, which is fine, because to be honest, I'm not quite sure that I feel a whole lot of difference in this compensated slide versus when I put the non-compensated slide on here. That's, your mileage may vary, but that's just me. I get a full, with my hand size, and I'm somewhere on the lower end of a large glove and the upper end of a medium glove. I get a full purchase on this firearm. Trigger, same trigger, but now we step into a flat trigger. But note that all of these fire control units can come out and swap into any of these firearms. So basically this is a mix and match. This is Legos for big kids, right? This gun, before I put the optic on it, which is a Holosun 507K, by the way, which direct mounts to this slide. So if you don't like the Sig Romeo Zero, which I don't, because I don't like the control where you have to hit the control inside there and constantly touching the glass inside of my optic. This direct mounts on there, and it mounts on there in seconds. Take the plate cover off, which is 2 screws, and use the the thin screws that come with the 507K and directly mount it to the slide. About 15 inch-pounds of torque is what I put it in at. So the review's not about the slide, but before I put the slide on here, this gun I was also able to carry in my pocket. I do not wear skinny hipster jeans or clothing for that matter, so this fits in my pocket. Also, I have a really good inside the waistband holster. So for 12 rounds, standard capacity, a larger grip, which does make this shoot better, still at the size that I can stick in my pocket or in my waistband, and it doesn't print. This is actually my pick. If you could only have one of these firearms for concealed carry purposes, everyday EDC, the P365 XL is the one that I would recommend. You get your 12 round magazine out of the standard. You have the ability to carry a spare. It's a 17 round magazine. It manages recoil better because of the size of the grip. It is just about perfect for my hands at least. And again, I'm on the small end of a large, high end of a medium glove size. And fits inside the waistband or inside your pocket, as long as you're not wearing pants that are too tight. Somewhat recently, Sig has decided that you don't need 12 rounds in your magazine. That's just not enough. You need 17. And they came out with the P365X Macro. P365X Macro also fitted for the same reason as I stated before with the Holosun 507K. Real easy to put on. I might do a video on how to put this on, but it's 2 screws on or 2 screws off, pull the plate off the top, because now you don't have to go through. They used to have it where you had to go through the bottom of the slide. You had to take the slide off and everything, but now the plate comes off the top, real easy. Optic goes right on the 2 skinny screws that come with the 507K, and it's obvious which ones are the skinny screws. They get narrower after the top of it, a lot narrower. Those are the ones that torque down here. Again, I used 15 inch-pounds of torque on this. So 17 rounds, 1 in the chamber. This slide is really tight. In fact, it's so tight that I can't work the slide release with the magazine in and it being empty. If there is a round in the magazine, this goes down with no problem. Same trigger, breaks at 90 degrees. This isn't a bad trigger at all for a striker fired handgun. I do like the flat faced trigger a slight bit more than I like the curved trigger on the original P365, although I've shot this gun so much that this trigger's broke in. So I'm assuming these will get better potentially after, you know, a few thousand rounds through these firearms. The P365X macro comes standard with the ports. It's about $799, something like that, for this firearm. Comes standard with the ports. This is the same slide that goes on that I have on the Spectre Comp. The only difference is the Spectre Comp has the milling on it, which is kind of really cool looking. But this gun was $1,400, whereas this one is $799. I would recommend, if you're going to get this firearm, because again, I don't see a whole heck of a lot of difference personally. I've seen different opinions there, and this is just my opinion, or from my usage, but this doesn't do a whole lot. What actually helps to mitigate the recoil even more on this firearm is it's just heavier. It has a longer grip. You get a real good grip on this firearm, and so it handles the recoil. It handles recoil much better. But this starts to print when I wear inside the waistband on my hip, on my right hip. So if you wear this firearm appendix inside the waistband, maybe it won't, because at that point the grip doesn't matter as much. But when wearing this in the inside the waistband position, it does matter. This does stick out a little bit, and my shirt sometimes gets caught on it. So I tend to wear looser fitting shirts when I wear this firearm. This does not fit in my pocket, and it is a lot. I don't know on the scale, but just holding this gun, this feels a lot heavier than the Spectre Comp. And the Spectre Comp actually has a TLR6 on it, and it still feels heavier. I'm not sure if that's facts or if it just feels like it does, but all of these guns are reliable. All of these guns function really well. Actually, they're pretty accurate for what they are. This gun manages recoil the best due to its size, but it is not a super concealable firearm if you carry it on your hip. The grip is getting back to the length actually of the G19. It is much narrower than the G19, but on your hip in a good holster, that doesn't matter as much. So I would say that if you're going to have one of these firearms for concealed carry every day, that you get the P365 XL. Obviously, stay away from the ported or the comped, whatever they call it, slide, right? And this could be your everyday carry firearm. 12 in the magazine, optional 17 rounder is your spare mag, and I would recommend this firearm. If you never intend to, if you live in a colder climate and you wear a whole lot of clothing all the time, then I can maybe see carrying this firearm, although it's much heavier, and not sure that this would be my choice for everyday carry, even in that situation. But if you do get this one, the P365X macro, they recently came out with the TAC Ops version, and that has the non-compensated slide, which I recommend. It has a larger barrel, so all these barrels on these firearms are 3.1 inches. It has the 3.7 inch barrel that comes in the standard P365 XL, and I like the longer barrel better actually too. So it is a slight bit more accurate. You'll get a little bit more velocity, so I recommend that one, as well as the TAC Ops version comes with 4 magazines and not 2. And in my local gun store now, at least, this one is, oh, and it also comes with a better mag weld, and it comes with an extended slide release, which are all things that you can buy from Sig and fit on this gun. I actually have the non-compensated slide with a 3.7-inch barrel, and the larger, it actually has a different recoil spring. The recoil spring is also bigger, and it slides right on this firearm. It slides right on the XL. But I would recommend the TAC Ops version if you actually do decide to go with the P365 X Macro, because you just get more for your money. At my local gun store, I think this is $7.99, and I want to say the TAC Ops is, I want to say $7.50, $7.40, somewhere in there, but it's less, and you get more for it than you do with this. So I hope that helps some people that are looking at these firearms decide which one they're going to get for their purposes. To be honest, I still carry the standard P365 quite a lot because where I live, it's hot. So I carry this in my pocket, and I carry this extra 12-round magazine, which I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. There's no way that this round is going to jump from the magazine into the chamber, so nobody panic. Actually extends the grip so that I do get a full purchase on this. And it even kind of has what I would consider a pinky extension there. So I hope this was helpful to someone. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments or questions about these firearms, let me know in the comments, because I can still carry a lot of different firearms. In fact, for the last 2 weeks, just to prove that I could do it, I have been concealing and carrying on my hip a Glock Gen 5 Glock 17, which also has 17 rounds. It's a much longer slide. I get a much better grip on that firearm and shoot it better than I shoot this, the macro, because the grip fills my hand better. I get a better purchase on the back with my support hand. Has a longer barrel, so I get more velocity and better accuracy, actually. So just to prove that I could do it, I've been carrying a full-size gun inside my waistband. So anyway, like and subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.